The NBA playoffs are set to start in mid-August, and every card investor wants to know what teams and what players should I be focusing in on to make the best return on my investment. In this video, I am joined with three special guests. They are seasoned NBA investors, and we go back and forth on the different teams and players that they have an eye on, as well as the mindset that you want to take with you throughout the playoffs and going forward into the next season. Welcome back. Now let's get to work. Real quick, guys, I'd like to give a shout out to a few subscribers who have engaged with us in the comment section. They are Leslie Munson, Paddy Maloney, Bryan Garcia, Justin Bustin 28, and Woldwolf Music. Thank you so much for making this a community where I'm learning just as much, if not more, from you than you are from me. So if you'd like to be shouted out, just engage, let's make some money, have fun, and do this together. All right, enjoy the video. So obviously we got to talk NBA playoffs. There's a lot of different strategies going around. There's a lot of YouTubers and podcasters yelling out different names that could be amazing investments or they could be flops. But Andy, I want to start with you because you are the elder. You've seen this go up and down for the last 18 years. So what is your mindset going into the playoffs right now?
Well, this year, as we all know, is an extremely interesting situation. We haven't had basketball now for about 3 months, and we're going into an NBA playoff that we have never seen before. So in the East, we have 9 teams that are available to get in. Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston, Miami, Indiana, Philly, Brooklyn, Orlando, and the Wizards are the 9 seed. In the West, totally different. There's 13 teams from the West. LA is going to be everyone. All the eyes are going to be on the Lakers. And then you have down to the Grizzlies at 8, and then we have Portland, the Pelicans, Sacramento, San Antonio, and Phoenix to round it out. This is interesting. What do you do as far as the NBA playoff scenario, as far as a buy, sell, investing type of thing? Proactivity and reactivity are going to be something that we're going to have to look at. Right now, you have to try to target those guys that are going to have long runs into the playoffs. A couple guys that I think definitely have a shot are Kendrick Nunn and Tyler Hero from the Heat. I kind of look at them because they're kind of not overly priced now. You can kind of get them at a decent value. It's really gonna depend though on how far you think they can go. So for my advice would be, other than those two guys, of course, is try to think of who's going to make that long run, target those guys. And from there, just play it out. Because right now there's definitely deals to be made on guys that are kind of under the radar. And I'm right now, as we spoke before, I'm in a holding pattern, but definitely in a wait and see, but definitely buying those guys that I think are going to make a run.
And if you need information on what guys that could be, just read his background, Andy's background. He has the cheat sheet there. So the teacher's giving away all the answers. I want to pass it over to you, Jordan, because you've been doing the NBA for a while. You're very well versed in the data of everything. So what's your mindset going into the playoffs right now?
So as Andy said, we definitely are in an interesting time with no sports. I have actually invested in players like Bol because he dunked on me in NBA 2K, and that's the only sport I had to watch. So I was like, this guy, he actually seems pretty good. So I'm going to invest in him because there's nothing else to look at. So with the hype and anticipation of the NBA playoffs, my mindset is more on investing in players that I can get for cheap that may spike. So players that are going to have high ratings. So the teams that play against the teams like the Lakers and the Clippers, the Celtics, people are going to be watching them. And the obvious investments would be guys like Jason Tatum, LeBron, Giannis, and Kawhi, but the guys going against them, those are going to be the players that are going to spike. So all it takes is a couple of possessions where a guy hits a 3, a guy dunks on a guy, they're on Sports Center, top 10, and they're going to be all over the place. We've seen it with Ja. I've seen it with Brandon Clark. So just any players who are going to be playing against those teams, those are the players I'm looking for right now, since we seem to be in a downtime in the market. So I'm buying them right now and holding for that hope that they do get to play against the Lakers. And I wouldn't buy during that time. Like once the teams, like Memphis is playing against the Lakers. Now we know. Now people are going to go buy then. It's better to do it now and get those players and have them ready. So that's my take on the playoffs right now.
All right, so let's move it over to you, Chris. And you're the injury expert. So let me ask you, has anything on the injury side been on your mind or affected the way you've gone about investing for the playoffs?
So I guess from the injury side of things, there's definitely been one player I know I've talked to y'all a little bit about who it is, but there's definitely a player that hasn't necessarily like flown under the radar. I've heard his name out there quite a bit. Michael Porter Jr. is the guy that I'm definitely looking at pretty heavily. So as y'all know, he was a consensus top 3 draft pick for his draft before he kind of slid due to the concerns from his back and everything with the 2 surgeries that he'd had. But I think a lot of people kind of have already counted him out as being a guy who's maybe a little bit injury prone or is not going to necessarily make some noise because he's only averaging like 15 minutes per game right now. In the time that he's only got like 7 points per game when he plays. But I think his potential is insanely high. And I'm actually going to post an article tonight about it, but I think that his back concerns and all of his injury concerns are a little bit overblown. And I feel like he has a super high upside. And you can look at the article later when I post it, but I feel like his back injury is not something to be super concerned about. And for that reason, I've gone pretty heavily kind of investing in him. Like Jordan said, as a guy who could potentially blow up with a couple big moments in the playoffs. So I'm looking forward to it.
Very cool. Let me ask you guys, we'll go one by one. Now that we have this playoff format where we have a couple extra teams in the mix, for me as an outsider getting back into NBA, the opportunity that presents itself is what is that 9th seed or the team that could sneak in that wasn't originally in the playoff picture? Who's the star there, or who's the second star that could at least get by that first round and maybe upset a number 1 or 2 seeded team? What team do you have your eye on in terms of being able to pull that off? Andy?
Well, look, this is going to sound real homery, but I think the Sixers have a shot. They are awful away from home. I think, I joke around. I hope they lost the game. I think they lost 4 games at home this year. Away, they're awful. So now they have to go to Disney World to play. But now they got and hey, Chris, they got a healthy Ben Simmons. They got a healthy Joel Embiid. I think one of the other kids to really take a look at is Matisse Thybulle. If they're going to go anywhere, this kid is unreal as far as defense. He can score real quick if he gets the opportunity. I'm waiting for Tobias Harris just to give me something. Joe Richardson. I mean, they just have to. I think they have a real shot. And now that they're healthy, I think they're a dangerous team. Are they better than Milwaukee? No, they're not. But they've had success against Milwaukee. I hate Boston. I mean, sorry, I'm from Philadelphia, right? But I think they can give them a shot. It's just a matter of them getting on a roll. But, it sounds like I'm a homer. I guess I am. But I think a healthy Philadelphia, at least coming out of the East, has a shot.
I don't think these teams have a shot at beating the Lakers, but I think they have a good chance of maybe winning a couple of games and scaring LeBron a little bit and having people, getting on the edge of their seats. So this is, kind of cliche, but they gave Zion a chance. They set this thing up to give Zion a chance to get in that 8 seed because they want him the playoffs. They want those ratings. And, if you see Zion Williamson versus LeBron James playoffs, 1 versus 8, I want money in Zion. I want money in that series, just any player involved because everyone's going to be watching that series. And also the Memphis Grizzlies, they're already in the spot. They have the best shot at getting that spot. And you have a guy like Ja Morant. You have a young guy like Triple J and another young guy like Brandon Clark. who are young and up and coming, and if they show any type of potential against LeBron James, and who's getting old, and those guys, if they give them a little scare, I don't think they'll beat them, but definitely guys I want to have money into right now, to throw out on the market and try to make some money with sports card investing.
And what about you, Chris?
Honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat. I really like the Pelicans and Grizzlies from that standpoint. Having a couple of young guys with some serious hype, obviously, behind them. I've definitely put some good money into Ja Morant with the intention of hopefully, like Jordan said, seeing him, blow up in a game or two, against the Lakers, hopefully, and maybe making a quick flip there. I think that's a good potential play for sure. But it'd be some fireworks for sure if either of those teams kind of had a couple decent games with the Lakers and gave LeBron at least a little bit of a run.
Let me ask you guys real quick in one word, what is the team that lost out the most from this 3-month break?
Well, I think it's got to be the Spurs. I think they just lost Marcus Aldridge, and I think any shot that they had, which probably wasn't much, they're done.
That's a tough one. With LeBron James, I mean, I'm a Cleveland fan, so I watched LeBron, since I was 12 years old. With LeBron getting old, and Chris can talk about this with age, beats everyone. 3 months, I know they're going to give him some time to ramp back up, but, it takes a lot of time to get in that game shape and, into the playoff shape. That's a normal NBA season. And, I'm sure he's been working out, but nothing's like actually, playing with, all it takes is one injury, and all of a sudden, it's just Anthony Davis. We know he's how good he is, but all it takes is a little tweak, and Lakers are in trouble. So,
Because I would have thought any older team would have had the advantage because of maturity to be able to get back in, but also rest after such a long season. What do you think, Chris? Especially on the injury side, maybe that's something you can tap into in your mindset here.
I mean, I think honestly, it's a complete curveball. I think nobody really knows what's gonna play out or how it's gonna happen because, if you think about it, all of these guys, I imagine, are kind of responsible for doing their own training during, quarantine and everything going on. And, even like the best athletes, it's hard to keep that, keep the form up, I guess, when you're not doing your normal training, your normal weightlifting, you don't have the same facilities that you're probably used to. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to watch and see how these players come back and what kind of shape they come in. It should be interesting for sure. I don't know if I have a great answer for you because it's kind of a question mark, I guess.
You sound like a politician. You did a great job. There's no wrong answer and there's no right answer, but everyone is going to try their best. Anyway, who's going to win it all? We'll do a little take now, and then as the playoffs progress, hey, maybe we go back and see what our updated answers are. But I'm going to go with Lakers. Just living here in LA, I'd either go with Lakers or Clippers, but I'm just going to pick Lakers because it's easy. Andy, who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, my head says Lakers. I don't see anybody beat them.
Well, as an investor, use your head, not your heart. So good job. Jordan?
So my pick, and everyone keeps overlooking this guy, and he keeps winning. The Los Angeles Clippers, Kawhi Leonard has won, 2 championships now with 2 different teams. He's 2 for 2 in the finals. He's 1 away from tying LeBron, and we just keep overlooking this guy. We overlook him with his prices. We overlook him wherever he goes, and, he just stays quiet. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden we see Kawhi Leonard holding up the trophy again. And we're talking about, him being 3 for 3 in the finals, and we start saying, "Wait a minute, is this guy in the GOAT conversation? Is he better than LeBron? He's 28 and has 3 championships, same amount as LeBron." So that's the team I'm looking out for right now.
Yeah, and they have a great point guard as well, helping him out too. Chris, you got the final word.
As much as I want to say the Mavericks, have a potential for a run, I've heard some people throw them out there as a dark horse. I'm going with the Lakers for sure. I think that's there's really
In spite of everything Jordan just said, you're like, yeah, Lakers.
I'm telling you, LeBron, you can't count LeBron out. I think he's gonna take it home for sure.
I'd like to give a special thank you to Chris, Jordan, and Andy for joining me and for them sharing their insights with us. I didn't give you my perspective or my strategy regarding the playoffs, but I will be doing that in the next video, so stay tuned for that and make sure to pound the like for good karma during your next box break, and definitely follow these guys on their Instagrams. All right, I'll see you in the next video.